Hey, how's it going? It is August 26th. I am on the road headed down to scout a couple more lake spots. Also want to make some trails here. Well, mark some trails anyway into some areas that we want to hunt early season. Make sure we're able to get in there and not make too much noise and disturbance as we head in. I'm gonna hang another camera today and pull some cards as well. So I'm headed down, probably be there in about 15 or 20 minutes. Got the kayak on the roof, and I'm going solo today. We got Dan is over in Indiana this weekend doing some scouting for a fall trip that he's gonna make over there to do some bow hunting. So that's pretty exciting, and so we'll have a report from that as well. And hopefully we got something good on the cameras. Acorns are starting to drop. Most of our cameras are set up on travel routes through oak ridges and things of that sort, so hopefully things start to pick up a little bit on the cams. Just haven't had a whole lot so far, so that's the plan today, and hopefully be bringing you some cool pictures here after I pull these cards, so stick with me. So the spot I just pulled up at right now is a prime reason why Onyx Maps is a tool that every public land hunter needs to have. Dan and I, last time we were out here, were able to find this little sliver, which if you look around, sure looks a lot like private land. But there is a 10-foot wide easement right here that gets into this public land, which is eventually gets to the lake that we were originally interested in. And we just happened to find this little tiny sliver in one of our layers, the public land layers on our Onyx Maps, as we looped around this way, and I said, let's check it out, you know. And we're walking up on this private farm, which is actually abandoned. And sure enough, there's a plate and a post and public land markers all the way out to the road. So I don't know if anybody else knows about this. Maybe they do. It does look like there's vehicle traffic here, but I would probably think that there's farmers taking hay, and they probably come in and out right here too. So if I had to guess, it's probably one of those overlooked entry spots. And this first little hollow right here separates two ag fields, and it's just a ravine that runs straight back into some thick cover, which is probably bedding. So this is one of the spots I wanted to put a camera. There's some pretty heavy trails, so I could probably make a pretty good guess as to where to put the camera. I'm just gonna set it, forget it, and we probably will be in here opening weekend, I would think. There's a hay field on the far side that's private, but all the wood line is all public, and it runs way back into the lake. So okay, so I just made it in the edge here. How this sets up is it's like comes to a point, so it's like a peninsula of trees in between these two fields, and the further back you go, the wider it gets, and it goes way back in towards the lake, all the way to the lake here. If I follow this property line to my left here, it's a straight shot to the lake. So you can see back in here a little bit. The terrain kind of funnels back into that bedding in the back, so I think this might be a staging area here. I don't know. There's definitely trails through here. We did jump a deer out of here last time, middle of the day, but just heard something take off, so I have a feeling they sit in here. So I'm just gonna walk this one trail that I'm on here, straight back, get back into that bedding area that Dan and I found last time we were in here, and try to find a good place to hang this cam. And I'm also gonna kind of try to find a tree that might be easy to slip into to cut them off between bedding and feeding, and have this be like a good evening set that we could slip into if we don't have a lot of time. So that's the plan. Here we go. I just got back to the car. It's been about an hour in there. Definitely worth my time. Found a tree stand on the private land. Not that I was on the private land, but I was on the fence line, and so I could see where somebody's been hunting in there. Also found a reflector tack back in the public land, which who knows if it's been there for a while or whatever. I'm sure guys are coming off the private land some to hunt back in there, because it's a pretty awesome oak ridge. But so, you know, you're gonna have that, no big deal. I did hang a camera and found what looked to be a nice big kind of an intersection. There's already acorns out there in the middle of it, so hopefully there'll be some traffic through there. We'll be able to slip in there and hunt a couple times, maybe pull that camera out of there and see what we got on the camera too. So pretty excited about the spot. It's pretty cool. I like being able to just slip in a very, very small edge, and I'm excited to try it. I think it'll be a good early season set. But again, if we find some shooter bucks on that camera, we might be back in there during the rut too. So see what happens. About to swing by the little outdoor store here and see if I can't find a card reader for my iPhone, since I switched to iPhone. All my other card readers now are obsolete. So then it's off to the other lake. See you there. All right, so I'm at the second lake spot here. These cameras I'm about to check are more like destination cameras. So I don't think I'm gonna bugger anything by going in. That's what makes this spot so good. Is the deer bed. Probably a couple hundred, 250, 300 yards from here. But the way these woods are, it necks them down, it funnels them into this field up here that's got clover in it. So it makes it kind of a neat spot for early season. I've had a camera up here for a couple weeks. I'm about to pull the first card. See what happens here. So this card pull was probably the best card pull I've ever had. Now, sure, I've had card pulls during the rut with bucks working scrapes, bucks fighting, grunting, but this one, given the location and the magnitude of the buck that showed up on this camera, was by far the best card pull I've ever had. This buck we're going to name Goliath. I actually saw him in person later that evening and glassed him for about 20 minutes in a bean field 300 or 400 yards from where I got a picture of him. So I knew he was living in the area, but now it's time to be careful, view him from a distance, figure him out, and hopefully in 1 month's time, we will have a good idea about where he's living, and we're going to make a move on him. It's the kind of buck that you can really devote your whole season to. So stay tuned for more on Goliath. Hopefully, we'll be trying to get him in the binoculars here coming up this week. So, awesome card pull. I'm at the second lake unit, headed across right now to go mark some trails, pick some final trees and pull cards, and I'm hoping to be out of there relatively quickly, but that never seems to happen. So about a 10-minute paddle and then I'll be there and catch you in the woods. Okay, so I'm ashore. One of the places I like to pull ashore normally is where these runoffs and these dried up creek beds meet the lake. It often is pretty flat. Makes it easy to hop off your kayak. You aren't dealing with steep banks or anything like that. So I pull it up in here. You can see I've got some nice cover here to hide my equipment as well. But behind me, you'll see that ravine there, the creek that runs up into the woods here. I'm gonna target these for ingress and egress routes. So I'm gonna go through today and kind of clear this one out, because this is pretty much the main one that I'm gonna want to use over here. So I'm gonna clear it of all the debris and stuff as much as I can. So hopefully when I come in here next time with the bow and the tree stand on my back, it'll be quick and quiet and to get up in there to the spot that I want to go to. So that's what I'm gonna do for right now. I'm gonna get up in there, mark some trails, and pull a couple cards too. So love this area. So the rest of the cards really didn't turn up much. Definitely not enough to show on a video here. But to kind of recap my trip up into the buck nest that is devoid of bucks, I did mark some good trails, found some good trees. So hopefully the more the acorns fall, the more desirable that area will be. But I think early season, I'm going to be focusing on Goliath and maybe even beyond early season, depending on if he's hanging around. So spent the rest of the day on the water, and again, like I mentioned before, I was able to glass Goliath in a bean field across the road on the private land, and you better bet I'll be headed back down there. So it was a fun trip. Definitely worth the trip given the results from our card pull there. So now it's time to get ready. So that's what we're gonna do. Stay tuned.